What you're about to listen to is a rebroadcast of a show from my Blog Talk archives that was originally broadcast in November 29th of 2010. So it's almost 9 years old. The issue that I was discussing was at the time there were a group of guys running around all over social media calling themselves elite black men. Now, you may have heard that phrase, you may have even seen some things, videos and documents, because it's still used. It's not as much fanfare as it was back then, but they still do use that term and refer to themselves as elite. My question is, when you look at the definition of elite, these guys just don't fit it. How are you, superior in quality, in rank and skills than other men that are on your same level? You're just a basic dude, got a little job, got a little college degree and everything. But it's interesting how they compare themselves to men at the very bottom of the heap of society, the dregs of society as they're called. They compare themselves to those guys and then they crow and puff their chest out because they're a little bit better than them. Well, I mean, everybody's pretty much, except for those at the very, very bottom, is better than those at the very, very bottom. So that doesn't make you elite. As a matter of fact, the way my dad used to describe it, he kind of looked at society on a pyramid form, with the majority being at the bottom. There's a good portion of people in the middle, and at the very, very top of the pyramid are those that are the leaders and the shakers and those with the real power and influence. So you're being elite really doesn't have anything to do with comparing yourselves to those at the bottom, because there's still the middle to contend with. But anyway, this was a very interesting discussion. We had a lot of callers, and some were in their feelings about it, and others were in full agreement that just being a regular dude is not making you elite in any way, shape, or form. But your opinions are welcome. Remember, as usual, do not call the number that's hollered out. That was my studio number at the time, 9 years ago. It is no longer. I'm no longer on Blog Talk. I left there a couple of years ago. But that was the number at the time, and I decided not to edit those out. It would be too much trouble. So just remember, do not call the number, just listen to the video, and then post your thoughts about whether there are really elite black men in this world or not down below in the show description page. All right, thanks for listening.
Everybody. Surprise, surprise, it's Sunday night, and we're back on the air from the show last night. Just to let you know, this show was scheduled just earlier today. Why? Because I ran across something online that got me kind of fired up. The issue at hand is the mysterious elite black man. Now, there are, as I discovered, I was rather surprised to find this out. I'm thinking, okay, where have I been? But there are a lot of guys that consider themselves to be elite black men. They consider themselves to be far over and above the rest. And I was like, what? In my mind, there can really be no elite black men. Okay, well, maybe like Obama or something like that, but I mean, we don't have families on the level of the Rockefellers and the Kennedys in the black community. We just don't have that. So the whole concept that these average working Joes, they might own some little business or something, would consider themselves to be elite was just shocking to me. So I scheduled this show because I wanted to get input from men and women on two things primarily. We'll start with these two questions. Number one, What is an elite black man? Can you define what that is? What are the qualities or traits that make this black man consider himself to be elite, or that others should consider him to be elite? You know, what's going on there? And then number 2, I want to know what the female equivalent is to an elite black man. So, you know, we're not going to let them wear the crown by themselves, obviously. So, ladies, what do you think is the equivalent? And guys, what do you think? Because I'm looking at this in this respect here. This is what I'm saying. Okay, if you have a man who considers himself to be elite, that means that he has automatically placed himself in a position of superiority to you and to pretty much everyone else who he doesn't consider to be elite. So that means you are beneath him. Okay, now as a female, what does that mean to you? How is this guy going to treat you? Is the respect that you're looking for going to be there or not? You know, how is he? Is his manner going to be one of contempt and arrogance? I think so. I say that because, and I have evidence to back it up. Now I've been on, I'm on the internet a lot, and so there's this, these websites, which I shall not say what the name of them is, but these guys consider themselves to be elite. But let me share with you some of the stuff that they've posted. One guy says, I'm glad to see a few brothers standing up and not tolerating the epic mayhem of foolishness that is sweeping America. It used to be that you could find a good woman in church who you could trust with your heart and mind, but that's more of a myth than a spoken possibility. It's all about Negro, what can you do for me? Blah, blah this and blah, blah that. Afro-American relationships are circling the toilet, and alimony and child support check steady on the rise. Okay, Negro, first of all, can you learn how to type? There's no capital letters anywhere here, no period. There's just the spelling is bad, the grammar is, kind of questionable. Okay, but you're elite? Surely you jest. As I scroll on down the page, I see another one. They're calling women ankles. Okay, is that a respectful term? How do you qualify yourself as elite when you can't even respect a woman that looks like your mama? What's up with that? Okay, so I'm scrolling on down, and I'm reading. Hold on, I'm scrolling kind of slow. I don't want to pass anything. Let's see. This one says, from 1974 to 2004, the median income fell 12% for black men, while rising 75% for black women. One partial explanation is that twice as many black women as men graduate from college. Because a high-earning woman has little incentive to marry a low-earning man, black families will continue to rely primarily on one income and on one parent. Why is that? So then they had some, pretty interesting little comments. But in general, this thread, I'm just going to call it that, this board is negative. They're full of men that hate. Basically, I'm looking at, they pretty much hate black women. I can't even I can't even frost it over. Nothing here is positive about black women. Yet these men want to refer to themselves as elite and place themselves in a position to dictate what women need to do in order to be with them. And that is the whole point, I feel, of this whole elite thing. But I'd like your opinion. Give me a call. The number is 347-327-9215. I'd like to get your thoughts and opinion on A, what is an elite black man, and B, what is their goal? What is it? What's the real goal for trying to establish yourself separate and apart from other African American men as something better, as something like, practically unachievable, this elite thing, when you're really anything but. But, this is a title they want to give themselves, so I'm trying to figure out why. What's at stake here? Okay, caller 918, what's your question or comment?
How you doing, Miss Heartbeat?
I'm fine. What's your thoughts on this subject?
This is Ivan. This is your good friend. I'm always coming on your show. I ain't been on in a while.
I know. It's like, a voice from the past.
Yeah, I've been working. That's all. Just taking time and running my business, and it's growing, fast growing. So I've been I got 15 employees now. So that's what I've been doing.
Well, excellent. So, Ivan, what's your thoughts on this, though? You know, this group of guys running around here that want to refer to themselves as elite black men and set out all these standards that they feel like women need to meet in order to be with them. What's up with that?
Well, I would say this. I don't think wrong with. I mean, just like women have, you got women that have standards. A man should have standards as to what he would allow, what kind of woman he would allow in his life, just like a woman should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I have standards. There's certain things that I'm a hard working man. I have a tree service, and you know, and it's flourishing. Now, it sounds like it ain't nothing, but I mean, I make good money. It ain't about money, but I mean, I have requirements just like any other man. I consider myself an elite man in this regard. Not that I'm better than anybody, not that I'm superior to women, but I'm a God-fearing man. I love myself and respect myself. I respect women, and particularly black women. I respect all women. I'm very stickler for, you know, if you have children, you should take care of your children and treat people the way that I want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? And striving to be a better man every day. So, man, in that regard.
But I'm still not hearing this elite thing. See, the term elite by itself implies that you are singular in your measurement of either education, social status, or financial status. It means you are so high up on the mountaintop that, you know, you can't get up there without a nosebleed. That's what elite means. So, and I've only heard elite reference that term reference in reference to athletes, not to your average man, your average working man. So I'm really trying to figure out how these brothers who are just, you know, regular dudes, how do you feel that you are elite? I mean, to me, you got a job or you got a company, dude, I give you kudos, especially you got 15 people working now. That's excellent, Ivan. So, you know, but, you know, you still have to be grounded in the fact that you ain't no Rockefeller. You ain't a Hilton. You ain't a Kennedy. So you ain't elite. You might be successful. You might be a wonderful man. But where does this title elite come from? Well, that's implying that you are so much better than all the other brothers out there, every single last one, that there's just a small pool of you.
No, but that don't mean that. It depends on what context you're using the word elite in, because you have to remember, sister, you have to keep things. People use stuff in different contexts. So in my context, and when I say I'm elite in the manner in which I described. Because you have people who have, and see, just because you have money and have status don't make you elite. It does not. Because you have if you have Warren Buffett money, that doesn't make you elite. That just makes you rich. That's all.
All right, Ivan. Well, my phones are lit up because I got, you know, I knew this was going to be a hot topic, but let me get some other calls through here. But thanks for your comments and congratulations on your successful business.
All right.
Talk to you later. Okay, 803, you was next in the lineup. What's your question or comment?
This is Thomas calling from Charlotte.
What's up, Thomas from Charlotte?
Not much, you know, it's a laughable commentary to hear the word elite and black man. I mean, it's one more thing that's just very divisive. I find it laughable. You know, if you look at, I mean, when you use the word elite comes from Latin, and it means to be elected or chosen. And if you look at the context, there's no other context other than when something is elite, that means it's a small group of people within a social strata or class that people envy to be in their place. So, you know, to say you're an elite black man in America, I think is just laughable. We're the most hated man on the face of the earth, first of all. And second of all, you know, even when you take those who are wealthy or rich, which, you know, very few wealthy black people, they're from very rich ones, but not very wealthy ones. It's just laughable. So I think we got to get away from, you know, creating these false titles. You know, because, you know, some of the things that, you know, they're coming up with as far as like, okay, this is what I require in order for you to be with me. I mean, you can't come up with a litmus test that's, counter to what, some women come up with that, because there's a difference between standards and expectations. Everyone should have standards like, do you brush your teeth? Do you take a bath? There's standards and then there's expectations, okay. Like Chili has expectations that is unrealistic. Now, she just said, okay, he needs to be able to be self-sufficient. He has to treat me right. He has to respect me. He has to be clean. He has to, at least be able to speak the English language proficiently. Those are standards.
Right.
Versus unrealistic expectations like, a chick has got to, be 122 pounds for her entire life, or, she's never going to have a cycle for more than 3 days, or, you know what I mean? Just crazy stuff, you know what I mean?
Shut up.
Well, I just listen to a lot of this stuff, and it's like, like I said, it's like two people in a room shouting at each other, and like no one's listening. Like no one's listening. Like, I have quite a few, female friends that are successful, and these, I want to invite them on blogs because I talk about those so much. Cause I got like one, and she's dated every type of dude you can think of. Like she's dated everyone from a red cap at the airport because she didn't want to be one of those women that said, okay, I got a master's degree, so I'm only going to date someone with a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. So she even tried to reach out and expand her horizons, and it didn't work out so well. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, but they don't work out with the educated dudes necessarily either.
And that was the other thing. She had a dude who was a provost of a college who had a PhD, and he was a fool.
There you go.
So all these clients, just like you can get a chick who got a Phi Beta Kappa, and she's working human resources at 6-figure salary, and she might need the grimiest chick out there.
Well, Thomas, let me go. I got like a phone, the thing, what you call this thing, the switchboard is lit up. Do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, we just need to get away from the titles, and then people just be people. Let's get away from the elite titles and everything. I think that solves part of the problem.
Okay. Well, I got this from some men now. I didn't make this up.
Yeah, I know who you got it from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we ain't going to mention no names. Okay, dude, thanks for calling in. Okay, right. 317, you're next on the lineup. What's your question or comment?
Good evening, Deborah.
Good evening, deep voice.
Yes, this is Ronan from a long time ago. How are you doing this evening?
Mr. Ronan, how are you?
I'm feeling excellent tonight.
Good.
I'm a little bit curious about the whole label thing about elite. I understand the context. If it's put in the proper context, I understand it. But anything other than that is beyond me, because I honestly believe that you can't call everyone a man or a woman. They can either be an adult, male or female, or a grown-ass child trying to do grown-ass things. And I know as a man, I'm capable of good or evil. So as far as the context of elite, I'm graded everything I put my mind into and then some. But to say that I'm this individual who has superpowers and can fucking piss napalm and all this extra stuff, I don't understand that. So it's the same thing as everyone calling themselves good or, I'm a good black man or woman. Your actions are going to overshadow everything you say. If they don't match up, it doesn't mean anything.
I'm with you.
That's just how I feel about it. So.
Okay. Well, those are good comments, and it's sad actually to see because, I'm looking for the brothers to come together, like those who are like, maybe in the lead educationally or socially, they figured out how to run a business stuff. Set up something so that you can teach the younger generation how to be successful like you are. And what I'm hearing instead is more divisiveness. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because, it's, to me, it's like shades of slave master stuff. And I'll get into that in a few minutes. But thanks, Ronan. You made some, good. You had some good insight there.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And it's not just we're out there doing that. Some characters do not like the idea that we have a very abrasive delivery of it. But when it comes to the truth is usually an ugly thing. But it's a lot better than a beautiful lie that will destroy everything in the communities surrounding it. So that's just how I feel about it.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to put you back on hold. Okay, let's see. Who's next? 347. Your mic's open. What's your question or comment? I'm going down the line, people. So next is 843, then 213, then 484. So 843, what's your question or comment?
Yes, Mr. Heartbeat, how you doing? This is Elohim from the Elohim Show. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? What you got going on?
I'm okay. You have a very interesting topic. You know, it's sad that it has to be anything about a division between the black man and the black woman as far as elite, because when you look at the other races, the nations, the white woman and the white man doesn't have that competitiveness within them. The Chinese man and his woman don't have it. The Japanese man and his woman don't have that. Arab man and his woman don't have it, and so on and so forth, you know. In our nation, because of slavery, now they are, our brothers and sisters are competitive. And I believe that eliteness comes when we come as a union. A brother can't be elite until he's in union with his sister. And his sister cannot be elite on her own either. She has to be in union with the brother. Now, I believe that the reason why these brothers are calling themselves elite, because, you know, our brother's been talked about for years now. We know that we was in slavery, and the black man in America doesn't get much respect. So I guess they're taking this title as they become more self-aware, more conscious of themselves, a little bit of self-pride. So they're saying we're elite. You know, it's a little pride for themselves, like for whatever achievements that they're making for themselves. You know, I guess we would have to really see these brothers in action and see the examples of their lifestyles can really tell you if they deserve such a title. But I believe these are a group of men that, to them, they have band together and they have achieved certain type of successes in whatever endeavors they're into, so they feel a little bit elite. A little bit of self-pride is what I think.
Okay, I can go with that, but then what happens though is they take that and they start looking down their nose at the very females that they need to be partnering with, and trying to put themselves in a position to dictate to women what women need to do and say and be and wear and not do and not say and not be in order to be with one of these, quote, elite black men. And I'm of the mind, you can kiss my ass. I don't want to be with you anyway. Who wants to be with some old stuffed shirt type of, pompous, arrogant man? Nobody wants to be with that. Women want to be with a man who's going to love her and understand her and have patience and be accepting of her in every position that she's in, including when she might have a cold and look toe up, and she might, make a mistake in some respect. But to sit in judgment of other men as well as women, and to put yourself in a position where you're looking down your nose like you're just all of that, that's not going to help our community. And like I'm saying, I see this as a divisive technique where these guys are setting themselves apart and separate from everyone else, and which is just typical, I said it's a slave master thing. Oh, you the house nigger, and you're the field nigger. And so, they're trying to set themselves up as being better when we need to be holding each other's hands and figuring out how to make this thing work for all of us, That's
right. If you notice, I said in the beginning that it's sad that we have to have that competition between our woman and man, like the other nations don't have that. I wish that our brothers can realize that it's about a union with the sisters, and the sisters could realize it's about a union with the brothers, because we have to, that's the main thing we have to do. There's a wall between us, and we have to break this wall down. I really don't care how anybody disagrees with that. In my heart, Miss Heartbeat, we have to break that wall down. The only way we can straighten anything out as a nation, our family structure, as our people, we got to get rid of that competition between the black man and the woman. We got to embrace each other. I'm sorry if there's many who can't accept that, but that's what we have to do.
I'm with you. Well, let me go on and take this next caller, 843. Your mic is open and hot. What's your question or comment?
Hey, Sugar Dumpling, it's T. Smitty.
Oh, no.
Hey, how you doing, stranger? How you doing, stranger?
How you been, dude?
I'm all right. Celebrated a birthday a couple weeks ago. I'm getting old. Turned 32. Still got all my hair.
Oh, you legal now. Let me get on a plane.
All right. You talking elite men. Honestly, I've heard some shows.
What is that? Okay, first of all, what does that mean to you? If a brother came up to you or you were in some environment and some dudes were referring to themselves as elite black men, how would you interpret that?
Well, I listen to shows where guys are talking about that, and I'm like, dude, I don't want a man to tell me I'm this great guy. I like a woman to tell me I'm a great guy. I don't date men. And, I'm just keeping it real. And the thing is, when you listen to them say what makes that elite man, I'm like, you're supposed to have a job. You're supposed to be educated, at least a high school education. You know, you may earn a skill or trade as your calling. You can make good money off of that. You're supposed to love whatever religious deity you follow, not have a bunch of kids. It's the basic stuff of being an average human being. So I'm thinking to myself, it's the basics. Why are you hyping yourself up? Most people are good people. Most of us are good people that love our families, believe in God. And we don't kick puppies. We don't disrespect old people, you know. But I don't want a man walking up to me, hey, brother, you're elite. I'm like, how do you know I'm elite? I don't do you, dude. You know, I like women. And my woman thinks I'm the best. That's all that matters. And if I think my woman's the best, that's all that matters. Because, this whole elite thing, it's like the basics. Mm-hmm. And I just don't buy it, you know. I really don't buy it.
Okay. Well, let me take the next call. We got just a bunch of people on the phone. Okay, area code 213. Your mic's open. 213.
Hi, Ms. Harpeg. This is Kia, a.k.a. Muse, in the room in Los Angeles.
What's up, lady?
Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Thank you for being so patient, everybody who's holding. Just keep holding. I swear I'll get to you. I'm going through the calls as quickly as I can. But, girl, I'm glad you made it through.
Well, what I want to piggyback off the last caller, because this whole elite conversation is really pathetic to me. And I wanted to know, when did it become elite to perform basic tasks that normal human males around the globe seem to achieve without much effort? Like, in my book, you don't get credit for taking care of your responsibilities as an adult. You don't get credit for having gainful employment or taking care of your children. And what irritates me is that people are throwing around the term elite so freely these days. Like, an elite person, if you really think about the classic definition, is someone who's extraordinary, not some random average Joe who takes care of his bills. And I think the bigger picture this points out to is that black people as a whole have really low expectations and standards for their lives, and it's really pathetic. You know, in my book, cure AIDS, build a business that creates jobs for millions of people. That's elite to me, not some random dude who managed to go to college or grad school. And the fact that these individuals feel the need to mention their elite status shows me that they're truly not elite at all. And
tell it.
No, seriously, because true elite.
No, I'm with you. Oh, my God.
Feel the need to showcase their class, and they don't need to announce their elite status to the world. In fact, most of them are behind the scenes doing elite things and being movers and shakers in our society. And so, these men are really pathetic. In fact, if you really analyze their lives, if they're telling the truth, a lot of them are probably losers who didn't get dates in high school and are bitter dudes who are trying to say just because they're not in jail or have a bunch of bastard children, they're elite, which is really sad.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. That's exactly some of the things that they mention, and pointing the finger at, you people that breed indiscriminately, you're just the dregs of society, and we're elite because we haven't done that. Okay, well, some people, it's a different reason why you see single moms and single dads. You don't know everybody's whole story. Sometimes the people were married and somebody died, but it doesn't matter to others. They still see you as a baby mama irregardless. And our people have adopted. I knew a girl who had, her sister died. So she inherited her sister's 2 children. She became a single mother overnight. So when she would go, places, people assumed she was a baby mama because she didn't have any ring on her finger. But that was her niece and her nephew that she was taking care of because her sister got killed. So it's like, you know what I mean? People just make some snap judgments, and it's not all about you trying to make yourself out to be better than other people. Where's the understanding? Where's the kinship? Where's the joining of hands and forces to make our community stronger and better? I'm not even seeing where these men are trying to join with the other brothers. They instead pushing the other brothers down, standing on their heads, talking about, I'm elite, I'm wonderful, and you're not.
Well, the truth is they're really incompetent, and the truth is another fact is the fact that these people will never step up to the plate to make life better for someone else. They're self-involved, and they're comparing themselves to probably like the bottom barrel degenerates of society, not people who would actually make them look bad. And so they don't have solutions. All they want to do is kind of yap on the internet because it's safe and compare themselves to individuals who they have no idea how their life circumstances led them to their position. So, yeah, I'm really very dismissive of individuals who claim that they're elite, because most likely they're not. They're just losers who are trying to find a way to elevate themselves because their real lives are really pathetic.
Tell it, girl. Woo! Church. Okay, Kia, glad you made it through, girl. Okay, 484. What's your question or comment?
Hi, Deborah. It's Divine. How are you?
Hey, lady, what's going on?
I made it.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
Okay, real quickly, from my understanding of the elite, I feel like that name came about because there are men on the internet who are competing with each other to come out with these words and to be profound. And they have casted themselves as like saviors and like, at the forefront of this, male movement that's going on against the evil black woman. And I feel like that person, I won't say his name, he put extras on it and came up with elite to try to top the saying such as on point black man, not street thug. So that elite title is just him trying to one up his competitors in the same field that he is in, the savior of the black men, because there's different sites. Like the ankle site is one site, from what I'm understanding. The elite site is another, and then there's another. So it's like they're all in competition. It's like, who said this first? I said this 2 years ago. I said this 5 years ago. So as far as that, but as far as the definition of what they believe it to be, from my understanding, it came about them saying that they're elite. First of all, to me, it's the equivalent of black women going around saying that they're educated black women. And I spoke to you earlier and I said that it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, why you're supposed to be educated. So when they're saying they're elite, that's the same thing as black women saying they're strong, educated black women, And I feel like, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. And I feel like, as far as I feel like that came about by them wanting to answer back to some of the complaints that black women had, or supposedly, for 30 years they've been bashed, they've been told that they were nothing, they, Ray and Pookie arguments, you're getting me pregnant, you're giving me AIDS, black men are nothing, they don't do nothing, I don't have to respect them because they don't, they don't build, they don't network. And then there are a group of men that are like, okay, I am not that, I am the opposite of that. So it's kind of like, in some instances, if you're to believe what the men are saying as to why they came up with these titles such as on point, to be the opposite of the, the street Negro, it's because supposedly black women have been complaining that, all black men were like that, so they needed to stand out and be like, you know what, I am the opposite of this. Now what is your complaint? And furthermore, I'm going to need you to step up. Since I am doing these things, I'm going to need you to not have a bad attitude, kids out of wedlock, So it's a way to describe themselves, and it's an answer to the complaints that black women have been saying. If for 30 years, follow me, because I don't even believe it's been 30 years, but if for 30 years they've been hearing that they are nothing and that good black men don't exist, they all lie, they cheat, they give you AIDS because they're all on the download, then they leave you for black women. So it's kind of like, damn, okay, I am not that. I am the upper crest of black men. I'm not the low-down black men. I am elite. I am on point. That's what I feel like that is. The answer to, yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now, ask me, give me your thoughts on this. What do you think is the female equivalent to this allegedly elite black man? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm sorry. Oh, were you done?
No, yeah, do you have any thoughts on that?
The strong, educated black woman. The thing about it is, like, this is a capitalistic society, And there's also a racial hierarchy. People often say that every minority group tries to be like white, but they never finish it up. Everybody tries to model themselves after white and be closer to white, economically, marry into that structure. But they also, it's not just I want to be more like white, but I don't want to be black. So everybody could come here and be like, at least I might be Chinese. I may have, they may have chink jokes, I may have slanted eyes, but at least I'm not a Nigger. And then when you get to black people, you really can't say that. So you're going to be like, well, I may be black. Everybody, the Latina could be like, well, I may not be respected like the white people, but I'm not the Nigger. And then you go down the line, and then black people get there, and it's like, well, I am black, but at least I'm not that. I'm elite black. Everybody's trying to not be black, not try to be that black person.
Yeah.
So, that falls in, and as far as to answer your question, the educated, strong black woman is the equivalent of the man. And people, two people on two sides going around, tooting their own horns. I'm strong, I'm educated. You shouldn't have to tell anybody that. And, you don't get prizes for being educated. But on the sister side, it's like they always feel like they're labeled as, baby mamas, breeding machines. So they have to stand out. They have to be like, I am not that. And I feel like on the brother side, it's like, well, I am not a thug. I am not a Ray Ray and Pookie.
Gotcha.
I'm elite, but he put extras on the elite. That sound gay. That's like, you say almondy. You know what I mean? That was too much. But I feel like he did that just to find a new word for himself because, like I said, they're all battling it out on the internet to stand out about who said this, who came up with the words, who came up with this first. So I feel like that's why he said elite. But I do know where he's coming from with it, but I feel like that's where the term got coined,
Okay. Yeah. All right, girl, well, I'm going to put you on hold. I got a couple other people, so if you want to come back on, press your little one-hand thing again, and I'll bring you back, okay? Okay, we got another caller. You're, I guess, using a headset. We're showing 111. What's your question or comment?
Hello?
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, you know who this is. I agree with Divine Brown up until the point of, about the history part. I agree with that. The other girl who called in talking about expectations, just the part where, the standards are low, where you have black people who believe that, that all these things are things that we should be doing. Whether a man or woman is educated or not, or I should say educated. Then again, everybody can't be educated. But this idea of, going out and doing what you're supposed to, advancing yourself should be something that most people should aspire to. The problem is that the stereotypes, both black men and black women are trying to battle their stereotypes. They're trying to battle the idea that every sister's a hood rat, and black men are trying to battle the idea that every brother is in jail or not doing what they're supposed to. Even though, if you wanted to say numbers-wise, in both cases, right, the number of people who are not doing what they're supposed to do is high. The only issue I have with the women who want to say, that, they're saying the men are looking down, everybody else looking down their noses is, to me, a lot of women have been doing that. And the thing is when the complaints are that black men are not here, black men are not there. Okay, that's fine. When a black man is there, the problem that I have is this dismissive nature of all the brothers that got themselves together, right, regardless of this exaggerated term elite. The women say, we want a man on our level. Okay, the brother's on your level. Okay, fine, he's on your level. And then I'm just saying, no, it's on topic. I'm saying, to me, it's dismissive when a woman says, well, I just think he's a pompous ass, so therefore I dismiss him and I don't want to be with him anyway. You don't have women in any other group saying, I don't want the doctors, I don't want the lawyers, I don't want the CPAs or the judges.
Nope, because that's not who's running around talking about they elite men.
I'll agree. Look, I agree with you.
About who they are.
I agree with the men who are not elite. I agree with the men who don't have themselves together, who are just average Joes running around saying that they're elite, and it's a false title. I agree with that, but I still have an issue with the women who, when they actually do come across a man who is maybe we shouldn't use the word elite,
but he's
no,
up
I'm
there.
using the word that they use. I have to do that because that is the word that these guys that I'm talking about use. This is not my term. This is the term I'm referencing from men.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with the point that you have men out here who are using the term that shouldn't use the term. But I'm saying even when you have men, maybe they're 2 steps below elite. I don't like the idea where women are complaining about men not being on their level, the idea that sisters are doing so great, and then you get a man that's on their level or exceeding their level, and they dismiss him by simply saying, well, I think he's arrogant, so I don't want him, and I throw him away. Then they see him with Becky, and they get upset.
Let me ask you this. Who said that because a man has those things, that anybody has to want him? It's nice that he has those things, but those things don't give you a path into a woman's life.
Let's not play that game, because when you look at black women's complaints overall.
But you know what? Okay, hold on. I got to put you on hold because you're going off on some other tangent. I'm trying to stick to this show, this topic about elite black men. I'm not talking about what women do. I'm talking about what these men think about themselves. So that's off topic, like I said. I mean, it's, could be an interesting discussion, but it's not what I'm talking about tonight. So I'm going to get back on this topic. So let's see. Let me define this. The dictionary defines elite as a group or class of persons or a member of such a group or class enjoying superior intellectual, social, or economic status. With that in mind, is there such a thing as an elite black man? I think there probably are a few. We can look at Obama, for example. Number 1 man in the country. Brother definitely got some social status. He's a highly intelligent man. So he's up there intellectually as well. I would assume that due to his profession as an attorney and his knowledge, investments, and whatever, he's probably got some ends meeting like a mug. So, we'll put him in that category. Nobel Peace Prize winner. That's definitely an elite brother. There are few like him in the world, let alone in this country. Now, we have another segment of society, the black upper class, we call them. Now, originally, I think in the slavery era and shortly thereafter, we have a lot of black people that considered someone to be of elite status based on just 2 things, skin color and hair texture. Okay, so if you could pass for white, which you had the little aquiline nose and your hair, you had blow hair and you was all pale and pasty looking, for a black person that is, you passed for white. To them, you were elite. Okay, so you see what I mean. What does elite really mean in the black community? So as we advance, we get into the 19 whatevers, we have organizations like, Jack and Jill and the Lynx and the 100 Black Men, and we have the Omega Psi Phi and Alpha Phi Alpha and Deltas and the AKAs. So, we have all these organizations, and I would imagine that those were, referencing some element of elitism because of the fact that you were in college, you in college, which was not a common thing for African Americans. So, you get this degree, you're part of this college fraternity or sorority. Then we have black people that, participate in debutante balls, or cotillions as they're also called. They spend their summers in Martha's Vineyard. They own property in Martha's Vineyard. Or they travel to Europe for the summer. They send their high school seniors for their, senior year in Europe somewhere. Okay, these are what we would refer to as the black upper class. These people have gone to Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, whatever. They didn't go on a scholarship. Their parents paid. All right? So those are the people that I would imagine we might call the black upper class or the elite society of black America, black culture. Everybody else, the rest of us, we ain't elite. So these men who are online referring to themselves as elite, like, the guy, one of the early callers, Thomas, referred to, say, they're trying to set themselves apart. It's like a little ego boost thing for them. That's fine. Boost yourself if you need to, but then shut your pie hole. Don't you get online And don't you get on Blog Talk and start trying to use that as a platform to think that you now have some kind of power to tell women what to do and how to do it, because you're supposed to be so damn elite that people are supposed to be, like bending over backwards and bowing down to try to be with your funky ass. No, you are just a fool. Nobody wants to be with you. Nobody wants no arrogant asshole man. So it's like, these guys, you guys need to get a fucking clue. You are a knucklehead. Any man who really is confident in himself as a man, in his money, in his education, in his accomplishments, in his travels, in his opportunities, in his possibilities, he doesn't need to brag about them. He doesn't need to get on there and tout it out loud on some little chump station like Blog Talk. I mean, I like Blog Talk, but if you try to act like you all of that because you're on Blog Talk, anybody can start a show on Blog Talk. You know what I mean? It's nothing special. But these guys, you all just kill me with this stuff. So it's very bothersome to me, and it's really bothersome that women will actually tune into these shows and go to these websites and pay attention to what these fools say. Ladies, get a clue. These are idiots. You don't listen to idiots. Idiots aren't going to tell you anything. It's how to be stupid like they are. So whatever they're talking about, what they want in a woman and what they need, you need to do the opposite. And then you can make sure that you don't, involve yourself with some fool. Ugh, just so disgusting. Anyway, the call-in number, if you have a question or comment you want to add to this conversation about the mysterious elite black man, who in my mind is just about as mysterious and unseen as, that, what's that little monster called? I can't think of the name of the little monster. Oh shoot, I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, that's my thing. I don't think that there is such a thing as an elite black man, and that they exist nowhere but in their own minds. 347-327-9215 is the number. For those of you who already had your hand up, you need to press 1 to clear your hand, and then if you want to take your call picked up again, you press the 1 again, and then I'll see it. Otherwise, it just looks like, you're still on hold from the call before. Now, one of the guys that I talked to says that, he says, there's no such animal as a elite black man, that until black men can protect, produce, and provide for women and children, we will remain slaves. That is his opinion. Another poster says that black men are the lowest in all 9 areas of activity on a global scale. Education, finance, social. I'm not sure what the other ones are. I asked her, but she didn't get back to me in time. When a black man can stop nooses from going up in school or start staying and raising their children, maybe then they can talk. That's what she said. Thought, that's kind of interesting. Okay, caller 314, what's your question or comment?
I was listening to your conversation, and the question was really applied to an audience that would use it in a misconceived manner, the way you have explained. But on the other hand, as far as the definition of what elite means, as it stands for economic and intellectual, there are many blacks who participate in that particular arena. Not only men, but also females too. As far as intellectual, I can name several of them. Did you know you even had a black male that was erecting buildings like the buildings that fell in New York for the last 35 years? Information like that don't get around. But when you talk about elite in the United States, we're talking about wealth. You got areas where you have blacks live in neighborhoods, for instance, like your Humbly Hills in Los Angeles, where the average house is $600,000. Of course, it may not be in the same average as your Asians or, of course, as your Caucasians, but for them to be able to achieve that in America is very well. But the problem is that you don't have enough of that. And I can see the discussion beginning to ward off the direction that it has. But you know, one other thing, I'm going to hang up and listen. Amongst the talents that African Americans have in the United States, they have the talents and the skills to occupy those categories of elite more so than what they presently do. But for some reason or another, it's just not happening. And there's a difference between educated. Anybody can be educated, but everybody can't have the skills that's needed in order to put them in that realm of elitists. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because it's like you can be educated, but it's like how you apply the education that you have that can take you to great places, or it can just leave you right where you are.
And you can stretch that definition of elite. I happen to be in the line of a department store, well, a regular discount store, getting something, and there's a black man in front of me, had 3 boys with him. And I asked him, I said, "Is this your family?" He said, "Yes." And he said, "It ain't all I got 3 daughters too." But he was buying them clothes and buying them shoes. As a matter of fact, I told him, I said, "You have a lovely family." I shook his hand. Then I looked down at what he had on his feet. You know, the soles of his shoes was coming off, and his feet was practically on the ground. Yet instead, he was buying clothes and shoes for his 3 sons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, under normal circumstances, it's nothing at all unusual about that. But in our particular instance, where you don't have much of that going on at that particular level, at least you don't hear about it, that meant a whole lot to see a black male who had his 3 sons with him and had shopped for them and put shoes on their feet and clothes on their back, but him himself, feet is practically on the ground from a pair of old raggedy shoes.
Oh, boy. Well, yeah, that's apparent. Okay, dude, thank you for calling. Wow. Okay, now see, that to me, that's an elite black man. All right, caller 918. What's your question or comment?
It's your brother Ivan again.
What's up, Ivan?
Well, I think even the approach to this subject can be on the tinge of divisive as well, because I think when a man does have to shout that he's elite, it is a problem. Because if he's elite, it shows in itself. You ain't got to say what you are. Other people will tell you what you are.
Exactly.
But at the same time, though, beloved, I want to say this, though. I think that your approach to it can be on because I would be inclined, if it was me, I would be inclined to ask them individually, because a lot of times people will say stuff in a group, but then when you get them by themselves, and this is what I do, because I do gang intervention. I'm using this as an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I have all these young men that talk real hard, that bad stuff. But when you get them by themselves, and this is from the baddest to the least of them, when you get them by themselves, what they're saying in the group is worlds apart from what's being said with their group of individuals, and even with these men that you're talking about that are saying it. I guarantee you, because I'm a man myself, if you got each one of these brothers by themselves, their story wouldn't be the same as it is what they're saying in that group together. And so
but Ivan, let me backtrack a minute. As a woman, I'm gonna tell you this: no woman wants a bitch ass man who is so influenced by he's trying to posture and profile and please and impress other men that he's going to set aside who he truly is as a person in order to get their group approval. That is not a man. That's not a man.
That's my point I was making. Hold up, and you know what though? Now see, that's what I'm saying. That's the exact point that I'm making. So I'm saying I think that there's so many different levels, because sister, you dealing with this issue. We got so many issues as black men and black women, and this is how I'm inclined. Even with our sisters that face some of that stuff, I have compassion, even for the sisters who act like jackasses like these men do. I understand that there is something, it's coming from somewhere. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm inclined to find the root of it. This is just me now. You don't have to do it this way. I'm inclined to find the root of it and look at the root of it as to why these men saying that. And a couple of people touched on it. They didn't go deep, but they touched on it. Now, I would say this. I don't think that it's proper for you to look down on other people. Like I said when I talked about me, I know some elite men, like that brother just mentioned. And those are real elite men that really do that kind of stuff.
To me,
like
I'm
that.
with you. That's what I think, too.
And that's why when I describe myself as I believe I'm an elite man, not that I'm better than nobody, but I'm elite because I know that I'm better than what I used to be. See what I'm saying? Because I was a big-time drug dealer once upon a time, and now I work for my money. I've been out of prison 9 years, haven't had no problem with the law since, and I'm giving back to what, I'm helping repair some of the damage that I caused when I was in the streets. So to me, that's elite in my eyes. And I know other men like me to do the same thing I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's context, and what context you're putting it in as well.
Well, I'm going to say this. These guys that I know that are saying this are young and dumb. They haven't been through any of the stuff you've been through. They've been to college, and now they're sitting on blog talking on websites, talking all kinds of smack. So it's not that they have life experience that has motivated them to a higher mental and emotional plane. That's not what's at work here. These men, their goal, Ivan, is to place themselves in a position to dictate to women, to make women jump through hoops and to win their approval. That is their sole goal. Nothing about them as a man or anything.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that could be just your interpretation of it? Do you think you could be wrong in the way you look? I'm not saying
when
you
write to me, send me a message with your, blog talk name or whatever, how you click the little thing, and I will send you a link to these shows, and then you listen to them and you get back to me and tell me.
I've heard them before. I've been on one of their shows before, and I've talked to them. I know who you're talking about. I've been on one of their shows, and they said some stuff that I didn't agree with. I'm
looking at it from the female perspective, and I see nothing healthy, wholesome, or self-esteem building about any of the comments that they've made. Nothing. So I'm looking at it from how are these comments going to enrich a woman and make her feel like she's special and important to want to be with that man. I'm not hearing it. I'm hearing a lot of berating.
That don't mean it's just because you're not here. It don't mean it's not being said either, though. I'm just being it because there's always two sides. See, it's not just one way to look at something either. So that's my point. Because it don't mean just because you're looking at it like that it's the way you say it is either. That's my point.
Well, I say that I'm right, and I say that I have enough life experience behind me to know what people's intentions are. Every word that we say is said for a reason. We don't say anything that's what I'm saying. So the reason that they're saying, why then would somebody put themselves in a position, you practically 12 fucking years old, you don't know shit yet, but you want to sit yourself in a position, you ain't been married, you don't have no kids, you haven't lived life, you don't know nothing, but you want to sit in a position to dictate and control and tell women what they ought to do and be? No. You need to sit down somewhere and shut up. That's what I think about them dudes.
Okay.
But I gotta go. The phone line's lit up. Hey, you guys, there's like a bunch of people that are still on hold from before. Press 1 and clear your hand from the phone. I don't know if you want me to pick your call up. You gotta press 1 and clear your line so that I know you want me to pick up your call. And then if you press it again in a minute or two, I will know that you want to be back on the show. So every time when you're on and we hang up on you, press 1, lower your little hand thing, and then that will let me know that that your call is concluded. If you press 1 again, then it alerts me that you want to be back on the show. The call-in number for those of you who have not had an opportunity to make your statements on the air, give a call. The number is 347-327-9215. We got about another 30 minutes on the show, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay, caller 111, what's your question or comment?
You brought up a point that you told me was not the topic of the show, and you brought it up about you have some type of fear about the men who are on point or elite or have themselves together to some degree, some capacity, however we want to define that they want to control women. Like, that's their objective. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be, like, to me, it's the biggest
I'm not calling to be argumentative. I'm trying to get through this. And my point is like, why is that assumption made? Because to me,
it's
all
not an
this
assumption.
does.
I'm telling you, with conversations that I heard, that was what they said. It's not an assumption.
So let me ask you a question. So do you think that because of that, black women avoid a lot of men who have themselves together because of that fear or that assumption, or they expect that the man is going to try to control them? So they purposely go out here and get with men who aren't on their level or don't have themselves together.
Okay,
That's my question.
I've already addressed this. You can go on my YouTube channel. I've addressed this. I've addressed it.
No, I want you to say it right now. I want you to say it right now.
Not going to do it. Okay, 918, what's your question or comment?
This is Ivan again. I was just listening.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, press 1 and put your little hand thing down.
Okay.
Well. All right, so let me move on to this, what I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so we talked about all the black folks that went to prison, Harvard, Yale. You know, members of Jack and Jill. They've been in the Links. They 100 black men. You know, they've been black fraternities. They go to cotillions, debutantes. They summer in Martha's Vineyard. They own property all over the place. They vacation in Europe, all stuff. Okay, we call those people the black upper class. To me, those people are truly probably, you know, they're black doctors, attorneys, judges, you know, these kinds of things. Those people are most likely, as best we can consider, would be considered the black elite. They are the closest that we would get in our community to those upper echelon people like the Kennedys and, you know, I can't think of all the names right now of all those big wealthy families. But I'm looking at, you know, why is it, how are we as a people going to advance and move forward if we don't join forces and put our power together, collectively, you know, unite our power, our education, our experiences? How are we going to move forward and carry our race into the next generation and be, you know, successful and make changes that are keeping us down? You know, arrest that kind of stuff, this baby having stuff, and, you know, these knuckleheads and you know, men beating women and, you know, brothers getting locked up. I mean, that's not helping us. So if we have a group of elite men, how come we can't take some of the knowledge and experience that they have and transmute that to those that don't? Is there any way we can accomplish that task? So let's see. Let's get some calls in here. 646, what's your question or comment?
Wow, this is a very interesting topic. I've never heard, the type of men that I deal with, I don't really hear them call themselves elite. But I think what I would like to add is that all these people that you name, even those ones that are at the top of the cream of the crop, with, you know, with the socioeconomic status, the high class, you know, they have tumultuous personal lives too. And I think what men don't really consider when they call themselves elite, I think they look at the external trappings, how much money I have in the bank, my car, my education, these things. And they don't really look at the intangibles, and those are the things that really make a relationship work, because women leave men all the time with a lot of money, a lot of social status. I mean, we can just look around and we can see, you know, our celebrity breakups and people that are well known, they get divorced all the time. So what makes a relationship work is not just what you have on the outside, but it's how you relate to your significant other on the inside. And I think that's what men are failing to make, that love connection. They think, well, I've arrived, I've got a fat bank account, I have all this and that. Now let me sit around and dictate the type of woman I want. And usually the type of woman they want is something off TV. They'll bypass a woman that will probably make them a good wife, but they want what they see on TV, so they want to sit back and talk about that. But I think these men need to look at maybe self-reflecting. Okay, I have all these external things. Let me work on growing up on the inside. What do I need to do to be able to connect with a woman? But I think men look at it, I've achieved these things. Now it's about what I want, not what they can give to someone else. They look at who I can bring to fit in my picture. And when we have relationships based on that, they're doomed to fail, because I think people should come together looking at, what do I bring that I can enhance this person's life? I just heard over the holiday weekend something that just really touched me. And this is a couple that have been married over 15 years. And they just have a wonderful, wonderful relationship together. They're middle of the road. They don't have a lot. But the man said to his wife, he hugged his wife in front of us and just had a wonderful time with her. He said, I look for ways every day that I can uplift my wife. And these are things that these guys don't consider. And that is what makes a woman want to be with a man. Not all these things that you have. That's great. But women leave men with a lot of that stuff all the time. Then they go be with the guy who has half as much, but that can make that connection with them. And the only way guys can realize that if they start maturing and growing inside and looking at, what can I do? What do I bring to the table? How can I open myself up to give and receive love? And until men start making that connection, they might get a woman, but they may not be able to keep her. So.
Oh, that is definite, because, we're looking at statistically women filing 75% of the divorces. Obviously, there is an emotional disconnect, because women stay with men, like she just said, that don't have a lot of money all the time. But that man makes them happy. He makes them fulfilled. And guys, being critical, will look only on the outside and say, well, he don't have what I have. I have better. I have more. And think that automatically makes him a better mate, or better, qualifies him to have a better woman. And really, it doesn't. It doesn't do shit. It just means you have all that stuff. It's great you have that. But that's about you. That's not about her. And I think you bring up some very, very excellent points. I hope guys listen. I hope they hear it. Okay, let's see. Let's get, let's call her 484. Did you have a question or a comment?
Hi, it's Divine again.
Hi, lady.
Like I said before, it really is a cat and mouse game, and I feel like that man, like I said, he only coined elite just to be one up the other dudes. But I feel like when they're describing themselves as on point, it's to let people know that they're the opposite of what is already out there. And this is why I tell the sisters, I'm like, be careful about complaining. Some of them, not all, because your audience definitely doesn't do this. The ones that are out there saying, they're no good black men and voicing their opinions on shows, the stupid ones that make all of us look bad, because then you're going to have all these men sprout up and, pump their chest and feel themselves. This is confidence coming from feeling like, well, you said none of us exist. I work. I have a six-figure salary. I don't have no kids. So, I'm the cream of the crop, That's what comes about. This is like this is what happens when people complain for so long. I don't think it's as long as they've been claiming it is, but you do hear the sisters that just want to say, there's no good black men and blah, 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 and where are they, and then the black man is, they sprout up and they're like, well, I am this, hear me roar, I am elite, I am old. That is so gay. I am sorry. He should have never went there. He should have never went there. I'm hearing some terms that I haven't heard, like ankle. That was a new one on me as well. But the elite, he took the cake with that. You know what I mean? He really did take the cake with that. But I just feel like it's an answer to complaints. And I'm not really, focusing on the elite, the name elite itself. I'm looking at what he's trying to go with it. And he's trying to say attitude. He's the upper crest black man. And since we are supposedly few and far between, you guys been beckoning for someone like me. So here I am. And I do feel like they use that. And they're like, you know what? You said, we don't exist. I'm telling you why I exist. Now these are the demands that I need for you to meet.
And that's when the woman says, you know what, you can kiss my ass. And is not at least been interested, because what the guys don't understand, you might have all those things, but your arrogance is such a turnoff. And it's like no woman wants to be with a guy who comes at her like that unless she's ready to use you, which, really, I mean, I guess if that's okay with you, that's fine. But, woman who's looking for a man who's loving her doesn't want a man coming at her like that.
Yeah, but on a flip note, it's like rarity. When you're rare, you can demand more from people. If people make you feel like you're rare, let's put it like that. If you say there's no good black men and they're all in jail or whatever, you know, you can come and demand more because supposedly, you know, you're so rare. And I mean, it happens with everything in every part of life. It's like the most beautiful women can demand, you know, the upper echelon men because they're rare. You know, it happens with everything. Anything that's, you know, in rare supply, you know, supply and demand, you can demand more. And I feel like the women create the women who did this, not everybody, because it's certainly not you, it's certainly not I, it's certainly not your audience, but there are those women who say loud and proud that, you know, they air their grievances, and then, you know, they make men like this because they're like, okay, you know, they're making them out to be way more than they are. You know, compared and contrast to, like, the bums.
Gotcha. Okay, girl. Well, let me see. I got about, 1, 2, 3, 5 other people on the line. I'm going to try to get everybody through in the last 20 minutes.
I'm going to say good night to you. Lovely show.
Thank you, girl. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, let's see. Caller 213, what's your question or comment?
Hey, girl, it's Kia again. I have to jump back into the discussion because some issues came up with some of your other callers.
Okay.
That I wanted to touch bases on. I think when it comes to finding a mate, at the end of the day, it really matters what's inside. That counts because no amount of money in the world is going to cover up a deficient personality. Like if you have issues, damage, mommy, daddy issues, or you're just an overall jerk, all that money and success and prestige is not going to mean nothing to a high-quality woman, and vice versa. It's all these men on the internet talking about their elite and all these other, I guess, social, I'm losing my train of thought, I guess, take notches in their belt. It's really interesting if we could stop and ask them, like, well, how are you? How do you treat people? Do you give back? How do you enhance someone else's life? Is it necessarily all about you? And oftentimes, a lot of these individuals who are calling themselves elite don't enhance anyone else's life. They're very self-involved, and they're going after superficial qualities in a woman, which is why they're attracting a certain type.
No, you're exactly right. You're hitting the nail on the head. Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, if we want to look at celebrities, I'm not saying celebrities are reflective of general society, but people strive to live that type of lifestyle, unfortunately. And if you look at these couples, a lot of them are unhappy. And if you go look at the type of women they go after, a lot of them are going after them for their money anyways. And so if you're going after a certain type, then there are certain expectations that you should have in the relationship. And if that person leaves you after you lose your dollars, then don't act surprised because you probably dated that woman because of her looks.
Exactly. Well, like my saying goes, you know, don't be mad when you catch a gold digger fish when you threw out gold digger bait. So, you know, that's what you call shut up and take your trophy home. But thanks, girl. You made great comments as usual. I could always depend on you.
Gracias. Take care.
Okay, 646, you got another question or comment?
So what would you say would be maybe some, well, I guess when you close, maybe some solution to this with the men that talk about elite, and do you have any suggestions that they could have? Because this obviously causes some issues. So do you have any solution about this, or?
Well, I have a few suggestions that.
Because maybe there's not a solution, maybe just a suggestion, because the guys are the ones that came up with this, not the women, so maybe they're the ones that need to hear. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what I'm looking at is, guys, I don't think, the guys that tout these kinds of superficial things as the criteria for a relationship, which is an emotional connection. Guys, you guys are failing to understand this one point. With women having as much education and professional achievements, they've traveled, they own property, they have their own home, they have bling, they have cars, they have everything you have, okay? What is it that she would want with you? Unless you can offer a woman something that she cannot get herself, the only thing that you have to offer her is the richness of your heart, the depth of your love, your support, the warmth of your body, and, you know, these kind of things, the mental connection, mental, emotional, and psychological, which we call love. If you can't offer that, if you have all these barriers and barricades up, you're threatening her with leaving her, abandonment, running away to women with other races, trading her in for someone younger, or threatening her about her looks. If you don't look the way I want you to do, I'm leaving you. That does nothing. That's not conducive to building trust and letting a woman open up her heart to you. And if you guys would calm down with all this measuring of achievements and really look at what you have to offer a woman on an emotional level, you would see that no way are you elite. You are in the poorhouse because you have nothing. You don't even understand what a relationship requires of you, and very few of you give it. So, you know, you guys, you know, I don't know. I'm thinking I might need to, like, start some kind of male seminar series or something to talk about how you connect with a woman emotionally. Threatening and leaving and playing games and lying, all the stuff that guys do to try to always keep the upper hand and to keep the woman under control and all that. That's not helping. That's not going to help you do anything with a woman. It's never going to get you the relationship that you so deeply desire. And I say that because there's no way in this world that men would be going through all these changes and talking hours and hours and doing video after video about women if they didn't want a woman more than anything else in this free world. They want that. It's like their number one desire. But on another side of it, they're so afraid of getting it and then losing it. So it's like they're in constant battle with themselves. I see this all the time, and it's really kind of sad. But the bottom line is, until you have confidence in yourself as a man and you open your heart up to really love a woman, you're never going to get a woman to stay with you. She's never going to really be with you. She's never going to really trust you, love you, want to be with you until that happens. That's my suggestion. And like I said, I have a lot of articles on my website that explain those kinds of behaviors and what women are looking for, what men can do, and what women can provide to men. On my website, it's survivingdating.com. Tons of articles. There's over 100 different articles there, and lots of advice questions and everything as well. So, you know, you can sit there and read for days, still not read everything. But let me get a couple of more calls. Let's see. 803. Did I pick you up already?
Yes, it's Thomas.
Oh, Thomas, you got another question or comment?
Yeah, actually, you know, back to what I was saying, I think, you know, we have to just really redefine what we value. Because, like, just like you talked about, for instance, you know, the Kennedy family. The Kennedy family were a bunch of bootleggers. But guess what happened? Over time, they became influence peddlers, and, you know, they became part of the political system by way of their economic wealth that was gotten from ill-gotten means. So we find things that are valuable that are really not as valuable as they really are, or as they seem to be. Mm-hmm. So we need to redefine what is valuable. Just because someone has, quote-unquote, education doesn't make them intelligent or learned. It means they can regurgitate facts.
Tell it.
So, you know, I know people who have not attended a 4-year university and they have a different type of intelligence. I know people who are very adept at doing things with their hands and they have a different type of intelligence. And you wouldn't be able to tell if they didn't necessarily go to a university because they read. Mm-hmm. So we just have to really reevaluate all this stuff about social class and structure and just be honest about what this country is and what it isn't. You know? And I am sincere in the chat room. My point I would make, I actually went to school to Columbia Grammar and Prep, and I know a lot of people who went to Ivy League schools. My point is that they tell me that they cheated their way through school, and the fact that their parents contributed a lot to the, you know, to the organization, to whatever alumni organization, they got a pass. They tell me this.
Wow.
I mean, that's just real talk because they have a reputation to uphold. You know, so the doctor who was in the chat room, I wasn't directing. I was saying that Ivy League thing is a crock. It's an absolute crock because it's even been proven that now that at the undergraduate level, it really is less about what school you go to. Now, at the MBA level, it makes more of a difference because of networking. But for someone to spend $50,000 a year for Ivy League school is foolishness. Makes absolutely no sense in this day and age. That's nothing more than a scam to keep them there. But that's another conversation. We need to get away from defining things based on falsehood. You know, if a woman respects you, at the end of the day, you don't have to have a lot of money. You don't.
Exactly. And you know what women are looking for? And the guys don't understand this. Kindness and consideration and comfort and things like that, that goes so far. And a lot of guys that don't have money, you know, they have a different kind of personality. The real striving kind of guys that want to get the CEO positions and work them 20-hour days, 7 days a week and all that kind of stuff, they have a different personality. A lot of women are really satisfied with the average Joe that works, 8 to 4 and is home for dinner at 5:30. Every night she knows he's going to be at home with her and their kids. He's going to help the kids with their homework. He's going to bathe them and put them to bed. She never has to worry about where he is or is he coming home. This is a guy who she can depend on, who is there. It's like her rock. That's what women look for. And I think a lot of guys totally underestimate that. They turn their nose up at a guy like that works at UPS or FedEx or at the post office, and, he comes home and he's just a regular guy. They discount that man and don't feel like he's really of much value, whereas to a woman that he's a great husband. He's wonderful. And
as much as I do not support Tyler Perry in any way, shape, or form, in his movie that he came out with, The Family That Prays, he tried to illustrate that where, you had the black woman that she was working for the white family business, and that she was sleeping with the white guy, and that she looked at her husband because he was a laborer and he was good with construction. I think he was trying to become a contractor, and because she went to Ivy League school and she had a job, she had a very good job. He basically was getting no love from her at home, and then later on he ended up coming out on top. I mean, that's one of the very few pictures where I think he tried to send a message to women that you do have. I got friends of mine who say, there's a guy that's working 2 jobs that they wouldn't deal with him. And I said, well, if he's working 2 jobs, that means he's going to have less time to cheat on you. He's probably someone that he was industrious and maybe he has a goal in mind and maybe you should invest some time into that person. So I said we just need to redefine. And
that one's a struggle though, because then it's like if he's working 2 jobs, does he really have time to build a relationship? And that's probably where they're coming from.
But he's something very important, and men know how to prioritize. Just always remember, men know how to prioritize. So if you're important to him, he will find a way. Like even if it means him, okay, I talked to my employer on my second job. I told him I'm going to cut back to 3 days a week. And those 2 days, because if you're just dating, you definitely don't want them up under you, 24 hours a day anyway.
Right.
So, if he says, okay, I'm going to cut back and we're going to spend 3 days a week together, that he's going to prioritize. He'll find a way.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, that sounds lovely. And to me, that means more if a man is going through changes like that to be with you. That really means more than a guy who, doesn't really have much going on and has a lot of free time. I think a lot of women, especially the young ones, don't understand what that means. But you're right, Thomas. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, I ran my mouth enough tonight. So.
Okay. But thanks for calling. You make great comments. Okay,
right.
Let's see. We got you 646. You back on the mic. Did you got any closing comments to make?
Well, I'd just like to say, looking in the chat room, that most people fall in the middle. And so we can just be the best that we can be to each other and look at the intangibles and what we can do to be better inside. I think we'll have more successful relationships. Just do away with the titles, because just walk the walk, not talk the talk. If you're a person that's that's a good-hearted person and trying to do the best you can, and you're approaching a woman to see if you can enhance her life, then those traits will show. But if you're sitting around on the internet talking about, you're an elitist and women need to do this or that to be with you, you'll probably be on the internet alone.
Tell it. I so agree. Well, thank you for calling in. Okay, as we end, we're getting near the end of the show, so anybody who's been shy, you've been kind of hanging back, you wanted to wait and see what everyone else said. Now is your big chance to call in. The number is 347-327-9215. Press 1 on your keypad. It'll raise your little hand up, and I'll know that you want your call taken on the air. That's 347-327-9215. I'd love to hear your comments. We're closing out the show on the elite black man. Do they exist anywhere but in their own minds? It's a very interesting premise. I'd like to get your thoughts, because it's like a lot of the guys seem to have the idea that they doing just regular responsible man stuff, like, going to work, paying their taxes and paying their bills and getting a college education and, paying their car note or, whatever they're doing. Things that we consider, just pretty much basic manhood things. There's nothing special, unique. You're an average guy living an average life. You might go on vacation 2 or 3 times a year, little weekend trips here and there. That's just average stuff. So why are these guys trying to present themselves as something stupendous and extraordinary by labeling themselves elite? Because elite represents that you are at the pinnacle. There are so few like you that, you are like world class. That's what it typically means, the word elite. And like I said at the top of the show, I've only heard elite used in reference to athletes, not to a race nor a group of people. There are, elite athletes. These are people that by sportsman-like standards. I don't know what word to use, but some kind of standards that, they would use in sport. These are people that are so on hit. Their athleticism is so amazing that they can compete against other world-class athletes in the Olympics, for instance. Or they are so bomb that they are professional athletes. That's how they make their money. They are just so on hit. So if you're not an elite athlete, how did you get to decide that you were something elite and special and unique? You are not on that class. There's very few black men that are at that level, and I can really point to only one, which is Obama. So, I'm just really curious as how the guys came about and came up with that, that idea that they were just so fantastically wonderful that they're elite. K520, what's your question or comment?
Yeah, my question or comment was, because I just caught the end of most of what you were just talking about, and I really think it's good stuff that you're talking about, and I'm going to listen more, as I go on. But my comment or question, the first one was, what's your definition of elite? Because when I see elite as a working male myself, trying to get myself established and do the right thing so I can be in a position to take on a wife and really contribute to society and my people and start doing the things that I need to do where I can create possibly generation wealth, where I can at least see a better example within myself other than dealing or doing things that are just negative and that you don't really have to be successful. Because when I see elite, my goal is not necessarily elite mega Obama status, but it's to be able to be in a position to give to either your children or to own a business or to basically make money where your money is going to duplicate itself and also be successful. So I just say for people who may be like me or out there, I say for elite black men, as long as we're doing something positive, motivating or lifting, and then we do what we can to be in a position where we can take on a wife who's going to help us accentuate that and support us in that and have kids and do those things, that's my definition of eliteness. Not necessarily have all the money or the power, but we'll be able to produce and duplicate and hopefully give back and contribute to help, other men in that position or other young males or even women, marry a man who can rise to the occasion and be the man and do what he needs to do. And that's my definition of eliteness. So I don't know what you guys think, but that's just my opinion. But good show, and I hope you guys keep it up, and I heard good things. So.
Okay, well, thanks for calling in. Well, he has some interesting thoughts there, and I have to say, I would not use the term elite for that. What I would call him is a conscious young man who is striving for greatness. Okay? Greatness. But none of the things he said are going to make him elite, because elite, like I said, elite implies, by the dictionary definition, a group or class of persons or a member of such a group or class enjoying superior, okay, superior intellectual, social, or economic status. That's elite. So anything else is not elite. That is an incorrect adjective. But his goals are admirable. He will go far in life. He's, a man of honor. It sounds like he's got a great character. His goals are wonderful. And, he will probably make some woman very happy as her husband. But that's not elite. And that is, I think, where we are running into problems, is the misuse of this word. Just like, people mispronounce. All of a sudden I'm thinking about In Living Color. And they use the incorrect terms and incorrect words, and it's just bastardizing the English language. So that's one of the problems that I'm having. It's not elite to do those things, but it definitely makes you a conscious, progressive young man, and you get kudos for that, and nothing about that is bad. But I want to thank everybody for sitting in with me. I know this was kind of last minute, but it was a very important topic I think we needed to cover, because this issue has been discussed so much on the internet. What I hate to do is hear young black men placing themselves in a position to berate and demean black women. That is not what you are supposed to be doing, brothers. If you want to consider yourself to be a black king, you want women to consider you to be a leader, then fucking lead. Stop being a knucklehead, sitting around, with a microphone in your hand and doing all this crazy stuff, making these videos and making these blog talk shows and other podcasts and stuff where you say such negative, nasty things about women is not making you look good at all. It's really not. So, you guys, you really need to chill on that stuff and consider, if you get married in the future and have a daughter, would you want her to hear you saying those things about women? If the answer is no, then my brother, stop saying it right now. It's not cool.